Hello again, folks. Here I am again with my latest watch on the bench. Lots to tell you about this one, but I have to say, this is my favourite watch. It's the best watch I've ever done. Still gave me a few problems, but we'll see that as we go on. So it's a Seiko. It's a 7S26A, which are very, very popular. Seiko people, they're common as me. This was a gold one I got off eBay as usual. I've just got it on the bench here. I'm just turning it round. Everything seemed to work on the setting side with the date, but the lever was so stiff. Thought I was going to break it, but it didn't. It didn't run. I could get the second hands to move, but just for a few seconds. So you'll see why in a minute. It's quite a good one, that is. So I've got it on this point here. So I've got a non-working watch. Everything seems to be in order at this stage with the movement. I'm just checking the winding there. You can see that that rotor as it rotates round. I do try and put some wind in it, but the balance wheel will turn. I can get the second hands to move a little, but not a lot. I do look at it at this stage, and I can see why all the coils of the band spring looks like it's damaged. It looks like they're all deformed. I'm trying to put a bit more wind in here, but it's definitely a no-go. So I'm thinking, bugger, another balance wheel. And if you've watched my other channels, you know what a master I am of balance wheels. Normally entails buying several new balance wheels off eBay. But as I said, I did enjoy this watch, and I enjoyed it because, despite any few problems, I felt as it was coming together nice. I do, you say with bated breath, but I do feel it's coming together a little bit. I know where the parts are. I can see what they are. I'm managing it better. I'm only working on this watch at this point of the video I wear anyway. So I'm just putting it apart as normal, looking what I do. I'm looking at the date on this, and this model, the 26A, was released in 1996. It's not that old. It's probably the most modern watch I've been on. With the date stamp on here, this was made in April of 2004. So by my standards, it's a very modern watch, because 2004 was, well, last week to me. But it's 20 years old, so I'm pulling it apart as I normally do, checking as I go. They're very related to the other watches I've done, the 70, the 705 and the 709, and this is just a modern evolution of that. And it's got a plastic wheel with them, plastic, which is very much frowned upon. But they just refined it, but it's still as rugged and as accurate. It's the most accurate watch I've built, as you'll see at the end. So it's as I say, it's a 7626A, and it's very similar. It's the date. It's got date, but on the older ones, you pull it out. You pull your crown out into various positions. On these, you pull it to the second position. Turn your crown one way, the date changes. Turn it the other, the day changes. So they're doing a bit of refinement there. And apparently the keyless works is different, but I didn't spot that. The way the dial fits on is a lot easier. You can see that it's got the dial ring around there. That it is just pushed in, but it's a nice firm fit. That made it very easy, because for some reason I'm pretty struggling putting dials on. The TV screen watch I did, that dial is still not right. It's still not seated right. I've got to go back in there. But this is all in excellent order. So I bought these dial cases from my mates in China. God bless them. Just for a few pounds. And this is part of my managing system. Anything of fragile or it's got to be kept clean, I take it off and I store it securely. And I don't mean just putting it to the side of the bench where I come to it a month later and it's disappeared. So I take them off, and as I do with the balance wheel as well. I've got some storage cases for them, so I've learned them. So I'm coming in obviously dial side, taking it up, and these clips, and as I say, on all the Seikos, they're all very similar, but it's just learning. It's just learning how to take the clip off efficiently, and also so it don't disappear. That's what that plastic sheet's there. It's protecting the dial a little bit, but more importantly for me, it's not going to ping off and end up in vacuum cleaner on the occasions I vacuum. I'm looking at this. I do again. I am narrating this after the event. I can't not. I can't see how you can do it with the editing. I did promise 2 cameras next time, and I did film this in 2 cameras, but I didn't get the aspect ratio right, and syncing it was, oh, look at that, a plastic wheel, sacre bleu. It's only on the date change. It doesn't do any of the ring of the watch. There's another one in there as well, but it's all very very samey. But yeah, so the 2 cameras needs work. It's very hard to film 2 independently and then sync them together. So I'm working on them exactly the same time. I can do it, but my hands, it's a bit like voice sync. There was out. So further work is needed, but I've got the aspect ratio sorted out now. Basically, it's just my iPhone, and I put it on screen lock, and it stops going into that narrow bit. So I'm not going to say next one in case I don't, but I'm working on it. Bear with. So dial side, as you can see, you've got your dial plate, just like the older versions. You can see the plastic there in the bottom left. That's the date setting part. It made it easy because the older ones, they're 2 parts, 2 plates sort of screwed together. So it did make it a little bit easier, and it's no big deal. That's the dial plate coming out there. You've got your adjuster wheel, and they're part of the adjustment. That's riveted on. I don't take that off. I'm using my wooden tweezers, which again from China for less than £3. Can't fault it. There's the data adjust wheel, and you know I wouldn't say the DNA is the same. It's more than that. The watch, I believe there is some parts exactly the same as what's on the older versions, but the balance wheel. I always smile when I say that word because I've got PTSD when it comes to balance wheels. It's a different shock system. Very easy to look at. Just 2 tabs, bend them in, job done. It didn't go like that. But more of that later. So I'm just, as you say, I'm having a look, and I'm getting the feel of them now. I know what to expect. I know the routine, the system, and they are bloody good watches. The finished one of this, I've had it on my wrist. I'm wearing this. I'm currently wearing it more than I normally wear an Omega or a Hamilton, Omega Seamaster, or a Hamilton Khaki, the Murph watch. They're my watches of choice, having sold my Speedmaster because it was a bag of tat. I could have made a better watch than that, but there we go. Well, there. Yeah, it's really nice. I've been to Sherwood Forest on my mountain bike, so it's had some rough and tumble. Doesn't upset it one bit. Lovely watch. But anyway, more of that later. So I'm thinking at this point the balance wheel's pooped. So this is a strip down and clean. It's not particularly dirty. It wasn't in a bad state. There was a few little bits, like little black plastic bits, which could be from that dial holder, that movement holder ring. But it weren't bad. It was very very clean. And say the most. I realised when I researched the date that it is the most modern watch by a couple of decades that I've worked on. I mean, my earliest wristwatches I did was 50s, so this is a very modern version. But as I say, hopefully you recognise all the bits now. You can see that racking pole there. That's a gem of a thing. I used to have so many problems with that. I really did, and it's such a simple thing, but again, it's just getting a feel, and that's where we are. So there's going to be the normal thing: pull it apart, put it through the cleaner, and look at all the parts as I wash them and service them. All the pivots was all good. I did give them I've got some pivot polishers, so they were all pivot polished up. Yeah, I'm looking at that balance wheel, and I know what I'm thinking there. I'm thinking, oh shit, I've got to face that, and I really don't. I really don't want to, but say. So I would take it at that, and with my new management system in that goes straight out and straight into a membrane storage box. And that's just a cheap, inexpensive box. It's got a small plastic membrane on each side, so it seals it in. So I do that there. I was hoping I was going to get it on camera, but maybe I do. I can't remember at this point. But yeah, I'm looking at that, and the coils they're joining up. The spring's deformed. So I have got two spare in my stores, and I'm thinking I'm going to use that. These are slightly more modern. As I say, this is the 7S. So I'm thinking maybe I'll use one, maybe I won't. But we'll see. I'm not too bothered. You can't help wondering how these things get so damaged. Clearly do, but you don't know what happens when you have a fall, tumble, something like that. This bit's can't see visually any different to the other Seikos I've done. To be fair, you've got your top plate, which is coming off. I am regular now, as well as a matter of course. I'm splitting the barrel, taking the spring out, examining it, cleaning it, and oiling it, which is a big help because it removes any doubt if you get issues and you're problem solving. It's always back in mind that you didn't check it. But it's quite an enjoyable job, the cleaning and servicing the mainspring. But you can see that there's a little bit of oil there on that balance wheel. You see that smudge of oil? And when I start getting down deeper here, I did see several bits of oil, which normally, somebody's got the watch, it starts playing up, and they oil it, and you don't. I mean, it doesn't bugger it up from a permanent fix, but you put oil in your watch, it's not going to run. It will not run. It will stop very, very quickly, and it'll never run again. It won't damage the watch. It needs a service. It won't run again without a service because watch oil and the amount what you'll put in, or WD-40, that's a bugger. People put WD-40 in and you can smell it, and it may run for 5 minutes if you're lucky, but it won't. So don't do it. Give it to me and I'll service it for you. Yeah, at this point now, I have seen smudges of oil, so I know someone's been in it, and someone's been in it because of a problem. So I'm thinking, what is the problem where they've gone in and oiled it? And that's maybe where the band spring has been damaged. Maybe they've tried to adjust it, and the screwdriver's gone in, and as I've explained many times, those balance wheel springs are extraordinarily sensitive. But we're nearly apart now. It doesn't take to get to this stage now is 20 minutes if everything goes okay. It's 20 minutes, half an hour, something like that. It's just, and it is the most enjoyable part because you're not under any pressure. You're pulling it apart and you're examining it and taking things to pieces. It's good. Now here's the balance wheel. If you look at that, I've got it on the microscope. That's my microscope, which is on the screen. And then look, that's the coils of the spring. You can see that in there. And that's pulling the springs closer together. Well, they're virtually touching. And what that is, that's oil. And so some bugger's been in and they've oiled it with goodness knows what grade, and it's sticking the coils together. So at this point, I'm thinking, we might have a result here. And you can see it's all over. Big blob there. So it needs a clean. I'd previously tried demagnetizing it, because sometimes if they get magnetized, and they often do, they're so light and delicate, they'll stick together with that. But demagnet didn't make any difference. Now I've put it through a wash, I put it through the ultrasonic, and look there, that's fixed. That is beautiful. It was washed twice. I put it in I've got a small washing pot, which I put it in a special liquid, and I put that pot with the liquid in my ultrasonic, and that's where we're at this stage. It's still got to go through the main watch cleaner yet, but that's a fantastic result, and I was quite pleased at that point. It was a good moment, and I thought, maybe I'll not be having problems with the balance wheel. I was. But no, you can see spring's great, so I'm jumping up and down at this stage. The jewel's fine. I have got equal spacing around. This is under a microscope, so if you look at it on the screen, you can pick out where it's a little narrower, but that in the real world, that's not a problem. The jewel's okay, because I did have a balance wheel with half of that jewel missing, which took me a while to find. So it's good. So let's crack on. So this is my cleaning machine, which I made. You can make one of these yourself if you want to, if you're a new viewer. Made this for it's a Kiwi watch company, 3D printed. Probably cost about, I don't know, about £500. You print it off. You print all the parts, and you buy the electronic parts off the guy. They arrive within a week from New Zealand, and that's it. It's a bit big for for an amateur, but I like it. That's all the bits all laid out. You can see I've got the spring out, and that's it. There's not many parts. You can also see they've got the balance wheel on the base plate as well there. So the spring was okay. I have got a spare, but I want to keep it as a spare. So I didn't opt to put it in. You can see you could see the plastic was in the foreground. I still wash them, and I've still give them a very, very tiny bit of lube, because there's still less friction. So we put it together at this point. I've got the centre wheel in, and just putting the going trade in there. That's as you know, the escapement wheel, and you put that in first, because it's always at the bottom, and you build up from it. Again, that's something I've learned. I don't think I went back in to this watch that often, certainly not like I've done on the others. That's a quick show of my loop there, which I don't know why. But it's just putting little tiny spots in very. I am oiling it there. You can see that now. That shaft goes straight through your watch, and your second stand on what you see on the face that attaches to that. So that's your fourth wheel, which rotates once a minute. So your second stand goes on that. That's why you've got such a long spiral, and that's why I do brush a little bit of oil on that. I took all the winding gear apart, and I've changed the mainspring. No, I didn't change the mainspring on this. I looked at it. I just cleaned the barrel out, rewind it, put it in, and greased it with some modern grease, some new grease. Getting it all together. Top plate going in. It's quite cloudy there. A bit of a cloud passed by. I have to delete that out. Okay, got it all in. Put a line of the top plate up. This is one of these moments where everything's got to go, and it's just you're lining up the pins, and you're lining up the meshing of the gears. 90% of the time, you get it okay, apart from your escapement. That's always the last one to seat, but it's just gentle tip taps. And it generally don't take that long. It's quite enjoyable when you get it and you can spin it around. So it's a bit of one of the rewarding moments. And then that's how you do it. Just a slight touch on that barrel will get the escapement spinning, which is a demonstration of the gearing, which we've spoke about. So apologies for these hands over camera, but I just have to get in and have a look. One day I'll get this camera sorted. Like every time I do it, I make steps. But, it's a little bit off. So you can see that bloody bit escapement wheel's just not lining up. So it's off with it again. Okay, had a bit of a jump there. I had to just play with the editing on that one, so I hope that didn't jump too bad. Apologies about that. Stop. Yeah, it's just getting everything in. I'm clearly struggling on this day. I made a bad day. And I actually did it once only. I just put the plate on, and everything was just perfectly lined up. But I look back at that day with a smile. Those days are gone. Not sure what I'm doing at this point now. I'm probably suspecting maybe something's not sinking in right, or maybe I'm just checking the lube, making sure I did lube it. I've obviously got a problem, and checking it out. So put the wheels back in. Excuse me. But come on, Mark, get on with it. Let's get it back together. Oh, I hate these smudges. I really do. I could edit all these out, but I would be ages editing it, so I don't bother. Right, it looks promising. And look, watch that escapement wheel, yeah, in the upper centre. That is spinning. So I've finally done it. Even getting the screws in now, I noticed is a lot easier. Before I was struggling. There was falling out. It's said that buggers fell out. But in generally, I'm finding the whole thing easier. But that's the evolution of when you're doing watch repair. I started on pocket watches. I did buy a Seiko 5. I wish I'd have kept it actually. Thought I'm some way off them, but you've got to take the plunge, and you do get there. It is getting easier. So if there's anybody who I don't know is watching this video and thinking about it, you go through it. It's a phase you go through. You make some daft mistakes, but you also have some successes. You have a lot of successes. You get more successes than failures, and you get better. It's a bit costly. I've got a few watches what never made it, but they're great for spares. And it's part of the cycle. You're learning on your own. You're learning via YouTube, so you will develop bad habits or inefficient habits. But you just you stay active. You keep looking at all these videos and getting more experience, and you start to come. I never ever thought I would be able to rebuild a watch. As I started on pocket watches, and they were quite challenging. Certainly the cheaper ones I bought because they were pin pallet and not modular. But it's coming together nice. I need to sort out my balance wheel. I need to make that a bit better. But it is getting there, and you're constantly learning from your mistakes. And to me, they're very complicated pieces, but in the watchmaking world, the Seiko 700 family is bread and butter, and everybody says you should learn on them. Whereas I'm like, they're not. I don't think they're learners' watch. I think there's more simpler watches. The only thing easy with Seikos is spare parts. If you buy cheap the older watches as I did, spare parts can be a problem. Whereas Seikos, there's loads around. They some parts across different models, so they're a lot easier to buy parts. But whichever path you go, you're going to go through a period of pain, and that's it. I went through several balance wheels at one point on one watch, maybe three, three balance wheels I had to get. But I you live and learn. One is the wrong part. It's for this watch. It's not for it's well, no, so a more modern version of this. It's not the same. I saw it on AliExpress in China and thought I thought clever mark, it'd be saving money. That didn't work out. So getting it all on, I mean, even this, getting that the automatic winding mechanism together, I did struggle on that on one of them. I actually broke the racking pole on one because I was trying to move it. It kept hitting the ratchet wheel screw on top of the barrel wheel, the racking pole. But all I remember to do now is I wind the pole back when I put the screw in, and it's just no brainer. So that's what I mean about progress and learning the hard way. And it's frustrating. It knocks your confidence. You think sometimes, is it a bit too much for me to take and stuff like that, But no, it's fine. Look at that. That looks pretty good to me. This is, they're all on elevated speed, about 1.5 or something like that. Two, some sections are. Just getting it all back. But this now is, it's bread and butter stuff. It's just, you just plod on, get it through. The escapement pallet fork, what engages the escapement wheel, that's on the lower end. That I've even snapped one. I tightened the cock on that, and the pallet fork wasn't correct, and I ended up snapping the bloody thing. So it's just a technique. I got it. It feels all right. I put one screw in and just wind it in a few threads. Put the next screw in. And then I just keep doing that and keep bringing it down and keep checking it every, a turn check till it's right, till the screws are fully home. It's fiddly. I can't work my way around that one because you're dropping the pallet fork in to the bottom of the hole, but because you've got that long stem to the bottom, it tips it down so that the pallet fork doesn't sit upright. So you have to, your balance cock has to touch it and you have to push it forward and lift it up. You do all this without thinking, but it's the only way the two holes will line up. It's just a bit of, I've tried putting Rodico, the sort of watchmaker's putty, that blue tack, to support it, but don't work. So it's no big deal. It's as long as you're sensitive and you're winding it down steady and you're testing. And you can see me doing that there, wriggle, test, and what to do each side of that fork has to stop the balance wheel. What I'm doing there uh, is putting some winding. So now that has got winding. So when I engage that fork, it should snap one way or the other because the watch has got power in it. It's got quite a lot of power on there. Steady on, steady on. And I'm just making sure, you just touch the pallet fork, it should snap to one way. Touch it, snaps back, and that's a sign that all the energy from the spring has gone through your watch to there. Right, we've gone straight to the, I've got the balance wheel in, and there's a reason for that. Sadly, I'm still waiting to capture on video me putting one in and it runs first time, but I had a lot of problems. You see the die shock in the centre of that balance wheel. It's that little purple stone. It's got a little, there you go, it's got a little spring clip on. Well, the die shocks I've worked on, like a three-pronged, like a triangle. And you put one in, and as you turn it, it feeds the other in, and it's a lot easier. And they're a millimetre and a half, and they're so light, and you lose everything. Well, these are different. It's just two. You have to push it down both ends and turn it. And I struggled. I did the bottom one without incident. The top one, I lost the part. It just, I mean, it's so tiny. It disappeared. It went into the metaverse. So I had to get a new one. But ironically, I found it as well when I finished this watch and I tied it up. I actually found it. It was on the table, right in front of my eyes, actually. But so that I did struggle with that, but it went in okay because what you do, you pop them off, so split the jewels. There's a whole jewel with a pivot goes through and a cap jewel on the end, and you clean them, rub any residue off, a dab of oil, and I did that and popped it in, and with no big deal, no drama. It wasn't perfect. It had to anyway normal shuffling around and lifting and twisting. It's fine. Putting the dial ring on now, a lot easier way of doing it. I love that way. It's dead straightforward. You know exactly where you are. and it went in. I'm going to build the dial up shortly. That dial's been kept safe and clean. It's a lovely dial. It's absolutely perfect. There's no corrosion on it. Sorry, patina. And that's what I'm going to start doing now. This bit is more complicated, certainly most complicated I'll probably work on because it's got everything, date, seconds hand, which when I started, I hadn't even done seconds hand. I worked on the older watches with a small sub dial. So your second hand just went on an extension of the fourth wheel. Maybe the next Seiko in this series of more modern one has got what's called a hacking system. And the hacking system is you pull the stop out to adjust your watch, to adjust the hands, and it stops the watch. So you can sync it exactly to your local time, to the second. And that's called a hack. Maybe I'll work on one of them one day. I know a couple of ranges up from this, the 736, I believe. I think that has got a hacking on. But they're as complicated as they're going to be. They're not going to be. If I can do this, there's not many. I can't do. It's just familiarity with which parts go where. There's nothing beyond your skill set. Just experience and being kind and gentle. But you can see all the pink spots. They're all jewels. There's 21 jewels in this, which is awesome for a common watch. Not it's not high end, but 21 jewels that's why they are good watches. Seiko. What do they get? Why? Very well made. The case is it's really lovely. It's polished stainless steel. Well, sorry, though this one it's gold. With that many, I do get mixed up. I find I am getting mixed up, and I have checked a few videos actually, a few little pieces to make sure I've got the right watch. So after this one's gone out, I'm deleting all my previous stuff. So I don't want to get mixed up. But it's really rewarding at this. It's coming together nice. Well, there's my instructions. Again, Seiko. You can just go online, what watch it is, print it off, and that's it. It's done. And you've got a service manual. But it's really rewarding. I really enjoyed doing this. You're putting it together, and every now and again you just look and you can see the balance wheel running. I did put it through the time grapher. I wanted to wait till I'd got all the going train on, the hands and everything, but I couldn't resist. And I got a beautiful line, because the worst thing you can do is when you put a watch together and your time grapher is showing a snowstorms, inputs all over the watch's pants, and it's not running right, and you're getting some shadow or echo, probably it may balance wheel related. But this is lovely. I got a really good line, and I did have a little tweak on the adjustment, and it's running below 10 seconds, and the beat error was 0.1, which is negligible. And the amplitude here was reasonable, I believe, but I hadn't oiled them, because what I have done, I don't know if you've done it on camera here, but all those purple spots, those jewels, or the pivot points, you give them all just a tiny drop of, it really is tiny, of this special watch oil. I say it's special. The reason it's special is because it's especially expensive, but it's supposed to be really pure synthetic light oil, and it lasts for a long time, doesn't degrade like the old oils you used to. So it's just building up, getting the day and date on. I find this fiddly, and I understand utterly how the manual works. The manual works work. That's your date and date set, because on these watches, rather than keep winding your watch through midnight to change the time and day, you've got what's called a quick set, and that's easy to work out. It all comes from that black disc in the running on the bit, and I can see it turning. It's going to strike it, but I don't understand why it's so complicated. I don't understand why it's just not a wheel with a pin in. But I'm being honest, and I just don't understand That's it there, that wheel there, the black plastic one. I just don't understand why. And it must be something to do with you can wind it backwards back through midnight and it lets you do it. I don't know. If you maybe some experts watching this and when he stopped laughing, hopefully he'll let me know in the comments. But it's all going back pretty standard stuff. At the moment, I'm still smiling. I am now actually. I've narrated it. I'm looking at the balance wheel, thinking yes, because I know what a pain in the bottom that were. So I've got all that bit in this dial plate. It covers all the time adjust the going train, I believe that's called. And really tiny screws on there. Really, millimeter diameter, maybe 1.5 millimeters long. But I said that I do like them because I don't know they go in. I think it's more satisfying when you go in and you give them more attention. But I always think that they're going to be they're going to be a bit of a pain. And then when they're on, I do think, that was easy. You know. But it's not too bad. All going in there, and that's the up plate, and that's got a jumper on. You show it briefly there, and it's not that. Sorry, a bit out of shot. But that's got like a spring-loaded, like a square box, and that fits in the teeth of the date wheel, and that's why it snaps. It's turns, and it snaps in, and that's what's happening. It's the teeth. I think they're called wolf teeth. They're just like big triangles. They snap inside that. You might hopefully you'll get a view of it shortly. But it's all, doing what it does. It's the date wheel going next. And the date wheel's tricky because you have to pull that lever I spoke about, spring loaded lever, the jumper. You have to pull that back when the lever's on. And you never quite know when it's engaged. So I don't like things like that because if you're not sure, there's what happens if it's not. You'll carry on working, then you find out it's not. So you've got to go back and pull it apart, and that's frustrating because I do that enough anyway. But no, so far so good here. The watch is running. I'm still thinking about that balance wheel and what I fixed that way. Getting ready for the put the plate down and I'll put the day wheel on. It's all oiled. Keyless Works has got dabs of grease on it where I need to be. But yeah, if you look where that 30 is on the date wheel, that black wheel there, that it's driven off your hour wheel, which is in the centre, and you might see a small intermediate wheel. What was in between them, little white plastic wheel. So it's driven off there, but I don't know. I just don't. I can't see how it works. I like to see how it works. I like it, and I can see how it works. I'm thinking, why is it such an elaborate part? That's what I can't figure out. But who cares? You just copy what you've done, and it will go back together. You can see the bottom red jewel at the top near the number 3. You can again see that die shock system there, and it's just one strip across. So difficult, so difficult. I've actually got a few spares as well since I've got an envelope with 10 of those in and 10 jewels from China. So all the way from China with a little small envelope with £15 worth of jewels and die shocks in it. Such is the world today. So I'm well backed up because the spares I've got for the older watches, they're a triangular die shock system. They haven't got a different name. I've been on the websites, but the Seiko just call them die shock. Unless you know different, please put a comment and let me know. Put a comment on your way to like my video. That'd be nice. So I'm getting ready for the date wheel any time now, Mark. It's the date wheel. When you're ready, Mark, get your finger out. And here it comes. Hey, that's the day wheel. Fiddly, these. Don't particularly like them. They're not hard. You just don't know when you've done it. I've got to reach through those little cutouts and reset that little spring thing. They're not. It's just familiarity. It's one of these what I need to improve on. Once they're in, because they're on it, it's only like a paper. It's only like a plastic sheet of paper. You can see that jumper there. That's got to click in those wolf teeth in the centre. So it's just lifting it so it fits in. I think they're in most of the time. It's just one of these things you're not sure. Do you know what I mean? It don't feel. The only way to do it, really, I've learned is get it best you can and then test it. That works, but there's no click or lock as such. And that's what I'm doing. Although to be fair, when I did it a couple of times, what was happening? I'd put the wrong screw in, and it was protruding slightly, and it wasn't lying low enough because it was just rubbing on this screw. So again, that was something I learned. So it is these are one of the things where experience will come into it. And then the next is that C clip, which has to go on a certain way, and I'm paranoid about that because I imagine some watchmaker coming after me thinking he's put the bloody clip on upside down, because you can put it on upside down. It doesn't affect the weight of the watch, it's there so you can take it off. And, this is another one I shows you how Seiko things, that you put the wheel a certain way and you get your tool underneath it and clip it off. Very delicate things. I did lose this one. Tried to run away. I caught it before it escaped. Caught it before it got to the front door. So I did go back in, and it's on there. You can see it there. I know you can't. You didn't see it go on, so sorry about that. It is irritated me, but I have a plan. Right, so at this point we're all on, and it's all together. We'll test it. I don't know if I did it on camera or not, but it's certainly you certainly have to test as you go on with this game. You can't assume. And I'm getting ready with the dial, so I must have tested it, and then on the quick set, and it works. The dial was such a joy to fit on this one. It really is. You just push it on, and it's a lovely looking dial as well. And I think you'll agree on that one. Again, something I've learnt. I thought I knew better, which is not like me. You don't touch the dial. You've got some Radical, some of that non doesn't leave any mark, non-residue putty, like blue tack. You've dabbed that on the surface, or you can wipe it, but be very careful. I have buggered. I had a lovely dial, blue one. Sorry, a black one, and I thought I'd be clever and clean it. Did a little test on it. It was fine. Went through the cleaning machine. Well, no, I didn't put the ultrasonic, and well, it's in the graveyard. God bless. So the watch is on. The quick set's all right. This was this is fun. If I can, I might put an outtake on at the end where I lost my temper a little bit with it. I have realised since I've just set it to midnight. I've just changed the date, so I know the watch is mechanically set to midnight, and I'm trying to get it all on before the time starts moving, because your minute hand is moving. It's moving all the time, and I'm trying to set it all up, and I think it's because of that time thing. I try and rush it. I've got my press there. It's a jeweling tool, but I've been using it as a press till I afford to get a proper one, just to push the hands on, because I've been pushing on and I have a lot of collisions. The hands are rubbing each other, and that's because I'm not putting them on level. It's slightly misaligned, and of course they'll hit. So that's gone on a treat. It does look nice. It's quite worrying. So the next stage now, what I have to do, you set that to. Everybody does midnight, but it could be any hour. You set it on the hour, and then you put your minute hand on. So I've set it to 1 o'clock there, and then I'm putting the minute hand on. I've had to do a bit of editing because the outtake, I seem to say a naughty word, but because I get it all set up, and when I say it struggled, the whole thing probably took about, I don't know, 20 minutes, half an hour. But it just wouldn't go on. It kept bloody falling off. And now, I've set that hour hand to 6, so I need to get that on there. Excuse me, pretty quick, else it's not going to be synchronized. Because if it had a hacking system, I'd pull it out, the watch would stop, and I'd be all day long. So I finally did. I finally get it. I've cut some out actually, but I might put it in just for a laugh. Seconds hand. I always like that bit. And you just put that on a bit delicately. See, it's gone by 1 o'clock there, but and I didn't notice that till I did the video. But I've checked. I mean, I've got the watch on right now, and it's perfect. So I'm not touching it. Again, it's moving. It's not running that fast. In the real world, it's speeded up ×3. I think this one, 2.5. So you can see it's running. I'm on my knees now, crying. Now I'm on my knees, just looking and making sure you've got a good air gap or light gap between the hands. These, I'm showing you the case now, that with the case of the screws. I was going to polish them, but decided not to. So that's the watch on the time grapher. This is a nice bit, and you can see on that line 18 seconds a day, which can be improved. Amplitude, that's the big one, 243. That tells me and everybody else that it's running well. It's running really. Seikos tend to run a little lower on amplitude, so amplitude 243 is, any watchmaker would be proud of that. A beat error of 0.3 milliseconds, can't fault that. That's perfect. That interruption there, I'm turning the watch around for dial up, dial down, different positions, and you want minimum change. Now I've just put this dial down, and it's gone from 16 seconds a day to 3, which is a big gap. Shouldn't be like that. And I'm like thinking, oh sugar. Amplitude's still strong, and beat error hasn't changed, but it does settle down. And these time graphs are a bit slow to react, so it's still at 21 seconds, which is 2 seconds different. It's just jumped up to 3. But this time I could have changed the dial a little bit as well, because you put it on crown up, crown down. You put it on your 4 positions. So it's all good. And this is it. The final bit. So that's the watch. That's how it is now. The watch straps, I bought a pack from China. And it was very good, but I saw that one and I liked that one. I put a navy one on and it wasn't quite right. I didn't like it. So I bought some sort of this tan brown. I bought a few. £2.50 each. So, what can you do? And I think it looks lovely. It looks well on the wrist. It runs well, and I'm really pleased with it. Really pleased with it. What I'm trying to show you there, when it's all together. There's that balance wheel. Look, oh man, I love them, but I hate them. I hate them when they're running, but I love them when they're in my scrap bin. That's the rotor as you're going through your daily things. That rotor spinning round and engaging in that winding mechanism, which I'm trying to show you better there. And that's as accurate as any watch, any mechanical watch you can buy today, which is not bad for a 28-year-old watch. It's gorgeous. As I say, I've got some, what's the word? Some high-end watches, but nothing beats a watch what you've built yourself. You feel like you've got a 10 grand Rolex on your wrist. Every part of that I've worked on. and it's running really, really well, and it's a nice feeling. It's a nice feeling. I don't know what the hell I'm doing there, but there you go. Oh yeah, you can see there as the rotor spins around, it turns that reduction wheel there, which in turn turns them racking pulls and pulls on the balance wheel, your mainspring, the ratchet wheel, tightens your mainspring up. So that's it. That's my baby. I don't like my other watches, which I won't anyway, but this one is not for sale. So if you want one like this, go buy your own or get one off eBay, give it to me, and I'll make it look like that. I'll get running. Absolutely amazing. So thanks for watching. You know the score. Likes, lots of likes, and subscribe if you're mad. Why not? But it's a lovely watch and good adventure. Brilliant. Ah, I hate doing hands. Ah. Fuck!